Okay. Now, what was I just about to say? I always get my mind. See, this is how you know negative forces be coming in and messing up in situations. What was I just about to say, baby?
You saying a friend of
Yeah.
yours?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. A friend of mine. I'm saying he a friend now because he's someone I end. As far as I'm saying, when we family, we friends. You know. This brother has someone. I'm not gonna go off until I'm just gonna say someone he knows that has high ranking in the system. I'm just gonna say this. Did some research on my name and my number and his name and number and found out everything was empty. Wasn't nothing behind it. When I say nothing behind it, indexing is the truth, y'all. Indexing is your protection. Your is your covering. Your protection is you knowing the law. That's the reason I'm gonna give you again. The reason why I say your protection is you knowing the law. A lot of information that we're sharing, putting information in here, and like I said, once you go into this information here, and then it's a link in there called. It's a link in there called the difference between lawful and legal. And in that link, I got other information on the Facebook link and also on YouTube. You can go to those links, and once you go in there and see the other information in there, you look up the information. 5 links are in there where this guy is giving some phenomenal information. Another one in there, I got another link, which is a Facebook link. It's called "What If Satan Won." I got 75 different screenshots in there. I got information for y'all to see, but it's up to you. It's up to you to check the information out. All we can do is share the information, but we can't make you drink it, eat it, read it, or whatever. All we can do is share it. So right now, I'm gonna go ahead and let Shelly give you information. But the whole thing is, y'all, I'm just gonna say indexing is it. All my information is empty. It's just like being expunged. It's like everything been wiped out. Whatever is going on in your life, nothing there. I'm telling you.
That's the blotting out.
That's the thank you. It is blotting out. Actually, not blotting out his book of life, but blotting out of the satanic system.
Exactly. Yeah.
The Father is always equipping us with information, but it's up to you to accept it or reject it. Come on, baby. This is Shelly.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Today we're going to speak about what's going on in the world globally, how everything is tied together, how all of this comes together, and how it actually affects you. I'm Shelley Bowling with the Global Network. I'm also administrator of the Universal World Court and co-trustee of the Bathsheba and Esther Trust. It's my great pleasure today to speak to you, to bring you the information that has put this world back together again, and that is restoring back to you your sovereignty under our Creator, Father Yah, Allah. Now, for those of you that may not recognize Father Yah's name, it's spelled YHWH in all capital letters. However, he's known by a lot of different names, such as Allah, Buddha, and Sabuka, just to name a few. But we only have one Creator. Father Yah has brought together a group of people that have been working behind the scenes for years to restore this planet back to his children. Now, first of all, I'd like to tell you about the Chief Justice of the Universal World Court, Dr. Hindu I.L. Henderson, and what Father Yah had him do starting 30 plus years ago. In 1984, Dr. Henderson went to the Parish County Courthouse of Webster Parish, Louisiana. Now, the reason he did this is his family owned 200,000 acres of land in Webster Parish. The assets of that land had been stolen over the course of 100 years. All of the assets that had been taken out of the land had to be recorded as the mineral rights were pulled out, they had to be recorded in the courthouse. Some of those mineral rights were oil, gas, gravel, salt, timber. And when he went to the courthouse, added up all of the documentation, it came to $875 billion. He wanted to take it to a world court because those that stole the assets from his land, his family's land, were corporations. Those corporations were under the control of the Vatican, as every corporation actually is under the control of the Vatican. In addition to that, the global monetary system, which works hand in glove with them, is out of the City of London. The military-industrial complex of the United States is the enforcement arm for those two. So the three of them work in tandem, stealing and destroying this planet. Now, how does this all affect you? We're going to get to that in just a moment. As a sovereign principle, that's what we call mankind, as our sovereignty came from our Creator, Father Yah. Now, who is Father Yah? Some of you may not recognize his name. Some of you might recognize his name. It's spelled YHWH, and he is our Creator. Now, he's known by a lot of different names. Among just a few are Allah, Buddha, and Sabuka. Yet he's still just one. What Father Yah has done is he has brought together a group of people working behind the scenes to restore this planet back to his children. So let me tell you about Dr. Hindu I.L. Henderson. He is the ad hoc judge of the Universal World Court, and he's also known as the Son of Man. What Dr. Henderson did was, 30 plus years ago, go to the Webster Parish Courthouse in Louisiana. Recorded there were the documents of his family over the last 100 plus years. As these assets were stolen, all of the data that he pulled from the recording of those assets, those mineral rights taken out of the land, came to $875 billion. He wanted to take it to a world court. An individual could not take it to the court at that point in time, only a nation state. But because of his work as an advisor through the Lost Boys of Sudan, Dr. Henderson went to his friend, the King of Sudan, and he said that he would assist him in taking his case to the International Court of Justice, The Hague, Netherlands. So Doctor's case went to that court. They have a 15-judge panel, and in a ruling of 14-1, with the U.S. judge being in the majority, Dr. Henderson won his lawsuit against the Vatican, the City of London, and also the U.S. military-industrial complex, known as the USA. Now, the United States has not been a government since 1871. It has been a corporation. Therefore, it has fallen under the control of the Vatican. The judgment had to go uncontested for 5 years, which it did. At the end of the 5-year period, it became a final judgment. The U.S. corporation found out about this judgment and in 2007 filed bankruptcy. Now, in his wisdom, Dr. Henderson put within the lawsuit that they could not file bankruptcy to get out of paying him what was owed he and his family. Therefore, the bankruptcy did not pertain to this judgment. So in 2007, they did file bankruptcy. One of the things that Dr. Henderson did on January the 10th, 2002, and you can find this on the PACER website or LexisNexis, where it is recorded, he opened the international courts up to individuals. Some individuals within nations have had corrupt leadership in their governments, and therefore the sovereign principles in those nations had no recourse for justice. Therefore, with these international courts being opened up, they now have access to be heard. So he opened those courts up, and in June 28th of 2010, he actually became the ad hoc Chief Justice of the Universal World Court, and all international courts now fall under that court. So let me bring you up to current time, things that you will have heard about pertaining to what actually transpired after the judgment came down. President Barack Obama bailed out the banks on the auto industries. When he did this, he stole a portfolio. That portfolio was Dr. Henderson's portfolio of the $875 billion. Now that portfolio has continued to earn interest as it has not been paid, and it is well over $900 trillion at this point in time. The nations wanting to file charges against this same trinity of corporations for war crimes, theft of assets as well, found out about Dr. Henderson's lawsuit. They basically signed on that lawsuit, since it was prior to the bankruptcy, as a class action. At that point in time, ultimately, 198 nations filed on to that lawsuit, which became the global class action suit. Now, because of the theft that President Obama did by stealing that portfolio, March 1st, 2013, Dr. Henderson and the Global Network sequestered the U.S. government and the assets of this planet. Now, in the United States, that became the master sequester, the sequester of the U.S. government was filed into law October the 3rd, 2013, under House Joint Resolution 85. Section 101(b)(2) made the sequester the budgetary authority for the United States. At that point in time, Dr. Henderson became the signatory for the budget of the United States. So now you're seeing how all these things are now tying together. We have the global nations coming together as one unit in one lawsuit. Dr. Henderson has taken his seat as the ad hoc Chief Justice. We have a global fiduciary working in tandem with him on the financial side of the house to make sure that everything is restored back to the nations. The nations have been given treaties for all 198 nations. Now you can go to our website, which is www.sovcpr.com, or we also have a .org for other nations that may not be able to access the .com. On that website, you will find a list of nations. One of the things you will not find on that list of nations is the United States of America, as it is not a nation and has not been since 1871. It is a corporation. The placeholder for the people, the indigenous people on that land mass, also known as the United States, is the Menefertanasi Native American Tribal Confederation, which is a combination or a confederation of all of the indigenous tribes from this land area. So now the nations have their treaties of peace and friendship. They are now working together to coordinate the removal of the criminal global elite that have been destroying this planet. The governments, our food and water supplies, they have controlled the monetary system. All of these things have worked together to steal the works of mankind's hands. We now have 7 billion people working with us in all 198 nations to restore back to Father Yah's children what belongs to them. Now, how can you be a part of this restoration? Dr. Henderson has actually paid the price and is still paying the price, literally with his own blood, as his blood is on all of these documents, to give back to mankind what has been taken from them. So the process of restoring back to you what belongs to you and what has been stolen from the works of your ancestors' hands over the last 800 plus years, that process is called indexing. Indexing is very simply identifying yourself under the new system. The new system has been running parallel to the old system for several years now. At some point in the not too distant future, the global monetary system will collapse and the new system will be up and running, asset-backed, clean, and certified. The laws of this world will no longer and are no longer under admiralty law or maritime law, but are going back to Father Yah's laws of land. That's the ecclesiastical law, or the 613 laws of Moses, common law, and international law. All of these work together as a three-chord band to make sure that true judgment is given to all mankind, that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator by all inalienable and unalienable rights. Through this indexing process, you will be removed from the old system, which basically made you collateral for their debt, using your birth certificate. If you check out your birth certificate, almost all the time, you will find your name in all capital letters, which made you a corporation. They purchased a bond on you at the time of your birth that matures at your death that they collect on. They sell you through your birth certificates on the open market through the stock exchange. If you look at your birth certificates, you will more than likely find a statement on there saying that this is a financial instrument. So the global network uses that is our group, uses a copy of your birth certificate, your photo ID, and the last 4 of your social security number to remove you as collateral for their debt. Now, why do we use the last 4 of your social? We do not number the people. In fact, King David got in trouble with Father Yah for numbering the people. We are using that simply in case we get 50 John Smiths. We want to make sure that we get the right one indexed. You can go to our websites again, sovcpr.com or .org, to find out how to print off a power of attorney. It is a one-use POA that anyone indexed can represent you for getting you indexed in the new system. Again, a copy of your birth certificate, photo ID, and the last 4 of your social. If you do not know anyone that has been indexed, feel free to mail the POA signed by yourself to the Universal World Court, P.O. Box 7713, Fort Worth, Texas, 76111-9998. At that point, the court will receive your information, and one of our members within the court will make sure that you are indexed and represents you as a power of attorney. Again, that is a one-use power of attorney, simply to get you indexed. There's no cost for indexing. Again, Dr. Henderson has paid the price to redeem everyone on the planet. So I hope that you will take the time and speak with those that are working with you today that have shown you this video. Get yourself and your family indexed. The time is becoming very short, family. where massive war will be across the lands. We've seen war across this planet, and many of our brothers and sisters have been destroyed over the years. Many of these wars have been fake wars created by the global elite simply to steal assets from the people. World War III is already in full swing. We're coming into the hot phase of World War III, and it will be followed by the Battle of Armageddon. Many areas that have not seen war and destruction will be seeing war on their soils. Prepare yourselves. The indexing is what will protect you. We look forward to getting your information into the Universal World Court, and we thank you for taking the time to listen to this video.
Now, just before I bring my wife up to share information with you that's in the indexing papers, I want to share this with you real quick. For a lot of people who are looking and for those, I'm just gonna say not a lot of people, I'm just saying for those who wants to know about, because it's certain people that quote unquote knows about the Q-sips, talking about my money and this and that about the money. A lot of people don't realize they don't have access to get those Q-sips that you're born with at birth, that you were sold to from your mother at birth. You don't have the access to do that. And it takes a lot of people to know the access, because a lot of them end up in jail. I know a lot of people I know a lot of people that end up going to jail behind trying to access their information. One thing I want to share with you is, when Dr. Henderson took them to court, now I'm sharing this information with you for my own understanding. When Dr. Henderson took them to court and he won, remember, the assets added up to $875 billion. He used that money to set you free. Of the assets of his land that he had, he used that. This is how I know this is of the Father. Anybody that was able to go to court and able to do that, they probably forget the world. This is mine. I'm living rich, and I'll be doing my own thing on my land, doing whatever they want to do after winning their case. But a lot of people don't realize he took those funds, that $875 billion, and then he put it to a point where he's saving and helping everybody else that's in poverty, or should I say that's in shackles, or that's in slavery with the system, the corporation. But the people don't see it, nor they understand. They don't realize until in the last day, when that time comes, when you have to be accounted for whatever situation, you're only going to be on one side of the fence or the other. But that's going to always be Deuteronomy chapter 30. It's on you. Choose death or choose life. I'm going to let my wife come up, share the information. Man, I ain't always going this far. We at 8:32, probably to 9 o'clock. We got about less than 30 minutes, but my wife go ahead and share this information. Sorry about that, baby, taking all that time.
Oh, well, you was doing what you had to do. Hello, everyone. I am Joanne, and my honey likes to say I'm Miss Joe, because that's what a lot of people call me. So they can hear me fine. I am bringing to you the information for indexing. I first want to talk about what indexing is. As I do this every Monday, every other Monday when we have our classes. So I just want to, I reiterate, because there are people that are coming in that are new and have not been here yet, and there are people that are here a lot just to get more information. So we're gonna start about what indexing is. Indexing simply means to be identified. There's a thing called know your customer. So when you're indexed, when you become indexed, what you're doing is letting them know who you are when you're putting your paperwork or your documents, your vital documents, when you're giving notice, when you're leaving this system and you're putting your vital documents, they need to know who you are when you come out of this system. So you can't just say this is me and da 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 and this. You have to provide those documents, and they need to know who you are. They need to know who they're dealing with, and they need to know who you are when you um, go on any banking, or for those of you who invest in gold and things like that. You're not just going to put your name there and say this is how much gold I want. You have to let them know who you are. Now, they're not indexing you, but they need to know their customer. They need to know who they're dealing with. Okay? So, it could be a massive reasons why they need to know who they're dealing with. We have all kinds of people. Some people are very, most of us, for the most part, of us, we are inherently great people. We're good people, and we understand that people need to know who they are. But why would they need to know that? Because you got some people that are bad and they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and they need to know who they're dealing with. So when you're giving all this information, they are understanding who you are, and they are knowing who you are. So indexing basically takes us out of the satanic system, which is the 501c3 system, and puts us in the 501c4 system, which is the divine system, the system of Father Yah, the system that deals under the land laws, the common law, and the 613 ecclesiastical laws of Moses, so that were given to Moses. So that is what the 501c4 501c4 system is about. We are now called sovereign principles. We are sovereign, not sovereign citizens, sovereign principles, and that is the divine system of our Father Yah. So when you're indexed, let's go back to the time when we were born. So our mother and father conceived us and had us. Our mother gave birth to us in a hospital or wherever she gave birth at. And at that moment in time, for the majority of us, unless you were born back in 1935, somewhere back that way, they didn't have birth certificates. Everything was recorded in Bibles, or whatever recording they chose to use. But the main way that everything was recorded was in a Bible, and each birth, marriage, all those things were recorded in Bibles. There was no marriage certificates and birth certificates. I gotta look and see when was the marriage certificate started. But they did they most of like births were recorded in the Bibles about that time. So they didn't have birth certificates. I know that for sure. I did my research. So even having said that, your mother gave birth to you, and immediately, ladies, if you've had children, for the ladies who have children, immediately, almost, they barely even give you a chance to go to sleep. They come in your room within that day. They're stuffing that birth certificate and social security document or application or whatever it's called in your face, saying you have to get this is for the baby, and the baby needs a birth certificate and a social security card, and that they have to do that right away. It's almost as if they are saying, look, we know that you're tired and you didn't did all this labor, and some of us 24 hours, 18 hours, and they want to get this document filled out. So that is basically to get your baby indexed, because your baby is born sovereign. The baby is born sovereign. But when you sign that paper and you put your child's name and all those things, and you guys sign that paper, mom and dad, You have now sold your baby into the same system that you were sold into, which is the 501c3 system. And now this baby has become chattel to the system. So now did you know you were doing that? No, our parents didn't know they were doing that. If they knew they were doing that, I can guarantee you they wouldn't be doing that. But they didn't know. And this is what they don't tell us, because they don't want us to know, because they want to keep us enslaved as long as they can. I talked recently about how our work hours are. Work hours when I was young. Shalom. I'm sorry, babe. I just had to say shalom. um, our work hours were, well, my father's work hours were 8 hours. Sometimes six, depending on how what the day was like. But now, as I've worked and raised my children, the hours were increased to 10. Some of the people are working 12 hours a day. 12 hours a day. You barely have time to come home and sleep before you. Wow. But anyway, this is what I'm talking about. The more we work, the more they take. And so indexing pulls us out of that system, because most of us don't have, and the majority of us, and I mean my melanated sisters and brothers, the majority of us don't have our own businesses. Okay. And the majority of us, a lot of us work, and we work hard. And having to get that paycheck and somebody is snatching, even with the sisters and brothers with their businesses, if you're filing taxes, they're snatching, what out of your business. If you're under the 501c3 business, they own that. They own the rights to go in there and take what they, whatever it is they take. And this is what the 501c4 is for. It is for you to govern yourself, to govern your own finances, your own affairs, you know, whatever situations that you're dealing with. It is going to be on you to govern that. And you have to understand that, although we say, freedom, 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 we don't even know what freedom, true freedom is, because everything we got, they control. They control, our finances. They control basically our whole lives, where we can go, where we can't go, what we can do, what we can't do. And a lot of us don't want to admit that, but for the most part, if you have the understanding and the knowledge that you have, you know that they do. Okay. So indexing, what indexing does is indexing brings you out of that system of control and put you in control of your system. You now belong in the divine system of our Father Yahweh. The only person that stands over us is Father Yah. He is the control. He's in control, and he is for our good. He is for our good. So being his children, we are to be able to control our own things, our own way of traveling, our own, uh, you know, it's a lot people that lately that Mikael and I have been listening to, looking at, researching, and it is unbelievable how these people are so wicked, so crooked. And I'm talking about the people that are running the system, those that are operating this system, those that have created this system. This is not Father's system. This is a man-made created system. Admiralty Maritime Law. It was created by the wickedness in high places. That's what I want to say. And we are caught up in it. We've been tricked for thousands of years, for hundreds of years, to assimilate to this system. And because we have trained our children as well as we were trained, and our fathers and mothers were trained, and so on and so on, We have trained our children to this system, to everything that's in it. All the holidays and whatever days they call them, Father absolutely detests. He says that in his word. He hates these days. And we don't understand why these days even took place until we research them. And it's like, I am so glad that I have not just the knowledge of why it is, but the understanding. Because you can have knowledge all day, but until you understand what you have, you will not put it down. You won't put it down. And there's an understanding of why these people came and took what they took. They took everything from everybody. And it's not just our melanated sisters and brothers, but it's global. They're doing it globally. So now the reckoning has come, and indexing is at hand, and we're trying to. It's not just about what your redemption and those things that you will receive in your redemption, but it's about your safety first and foremost, because in the time coming, people that have been in rulership for so long, they won't give up anything without a fight. Okay, there will be a fight. Shelley claimed it. Massive war all over the lands and places where there has never been war on soil. There's going to be a fight because they don't want to give up that. They don't want to give up that. They don't want to give up our stuff. They want to keep our stuff as they always have kept it. So I just want to say, what moving along. What is a sovereign principle? A sovereign principle is a person. No, not a person. You gotta be. I'm learning them words. A person is something terrible. A sovereign principle is a divine, spiritual being, possessing the highest authority in the land. That means. Therefore, I'm saying that a sovereign principle governs themselves. They don't have to. They're not subject to any. They're not subject to any. They're not subject to any authority other than the authority of Father Yah. Okay. We walk in this land and we govern this land as we see fit. We govern ourselves as we see fit. We also don't adhere to any codes, rules, regulations that the system tries to put us under. That is not who we are. We're no longer in their system, so we do not operate in their system. Now, indexing brings you out of all of that, and it frees you up from just the harassment that most of our brothers and sisters see daily, some daily, being harassed for no reason, or just because some of them may be on radar, and that's why they're harassed. And so,
keep it just trying. Sure. That's that negative spirit.
So what it does is it frees us up from all of that, and those things happen because the time is now, is reckoning time. So they're trying to gather up as much as they could and as many as they can, because they no longer have time. So we got a lot of people that are being harassed out there, being pulled over, being put in jail for tickets. We ain't talking about, because you killed somebody or you done did something to somebody or whatever, for tickets. I don't know about wherever else, because a lot of people that are on with us are from different cities, states, and even countries. And here it's tickets. The majority of the people are locked up in Michigan for tickets. It's a lot of them locked up because they've done some things wrong that they shouldn't have done. But tickets, a lot of them are here for tickets. So they had to literally pass a law to say, look, you can't lock these people up for tickets. What kind of stuff is that? So anyway, we thank Father Yah for the law that has been passed. that took away the driving privileges of those who did not pay their tickets or show up in court to pay their tickets. Now, if you're indexed, you are not to absolutely on no uh, basis to show up in their courts for anything if you're indexed. Now, if you go, you better be able to stand on your square because you're not supposed to be there in the first place because now you're in their jurisdiction. So, having said that, I just want to let you know what a sovereign. I told you what a sovereign principle is. When you have supreme authority on your land, you have to be able to stand your square as that principle. You are the ambassador of your father. So you have to be able to stand your square on that and not be fearful about who you are because you know who you are. If you don't know who you are, when you get that documentation, you better study it and understand it and look up the word sovereign and get that in your spirit so that when you walk, because wherever your feet try or tread on, when you're sovereign, that land now belongs to you. Wherever you stand is your holy ground. Okay, and nobody has the right to infringe, intrude, or anything on that. Now I'm going to move to our documents. I'm going to move to our document that we got from being indexed, and I just want to read. I just want to read the part on the document that puts the notice and the warning that's in the document. Okay, so it says this notice is presented to all officers, agents, or contractors to the above mentioned instrumentalities, political subdivisions, federal, state, and city. Please be noticed that all property herein and attached is under the custody and control of the above noted foreign official and is not subject to intrusion or seizure. We are those people. Okay, it's not subject. My property is not subject to anybody's intrusion or seizure. Okay. Um, it says I, Dr. Hindu I.L. Henderson, and this is the warning. Ad hoc judge of the Universal World Court placed all trustees, liabilities on notice that bearer is not now nor has never been subject to the absolutely bankrupt de facto jurisdiction and its so-called laws in criminal justice system. The United States Department of State and the Universal World Court here have been duly notified of this notice pursuant to international law under international conventions and the World Court. This bearer shall enjoy full immunity from criminal and civil jurisdiction pursuant to your Title 18, Section 112 of the Internationally Protected Persons Act of 1976. This man shall be treated with the utmost respect, and all steps shall be taken to prevent collateral attack on his or her personal freedoms, physical mobility, commercial interests, and all residual property. I, Dr. Hindu I.L. Henderson, Sovereign Principal, elect Chief Judge of the World Court from the tribe of Judah, the House of Israel, for the estate of bearer have been duly notified to the U.S. Department of State and the Universal World Court, pursuant to international law, and enjoys full immunity from all civil and criminal prosecution under the Universal World Court. Bearer should be treated with the utmost respect, and all steps should be taken to prevent attack on the bearer's freedom, mobility, interests, and property. You are hereby directed to immediately cease and desist any and all efforts to tax, extort, detain, search, arrest, prosecute, jail, collect from, disclose on, evict, etc., intended to raid the beneficiary's account. All statutory judgments are null and void regarding bearer and his estate, and all derivatives thereof, ab initio non pro tonque. So having read the notice and the warning, that is what happens when you send driver's license, your birth certificate, and other documents. These documents are placed in your driver's on your they're on your driver's license, but there's a do not detain um I don't know, document or whatever it is that they put in there as far as that goes onto your driver. That hooks to your driver's license, just like your birth certificate and your social security number hooks to your driver's license, because you're no longer in their system. That is why that is placed on their driver's license. Now you have what we call diplomatic immunity in this in your international. I'm sorry, I left
No,
international diplomatic immunity in this land. So you are free to travel wherever you want to travel as you go on your way. Um, if you're in your conveyance, you want to call it that,
or automobile.
or automobile, if you're traveling in your automobile and you're on your way, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as far as taking care of your family, there's no need for you to be pulled over. And should you be pulled over, that document is supposed to show, it's going to show up on your, not supposed to, it's going to show up on your driver's license when they do a search. And in that doing of a search, they will try, don't get it twisted. They will try to, trick you into doing things or saying things. They will try that because that's what they do. They always try it.
Try it on you.
They try us. So if you don't understand what you have and who, thank you, traveling in private. If you don't understand what you have or who you are, you'll fall for whatever they're telling you. Know who you are. If you're a sovereign principal, and for all my sovereign principals that are online right now, know who you are. And walk in it. Put it on every day. Just know, wake up. You're a sovereign principal. So and I'm not saying that to be boastful or for you to show off or anything like that, but I'm saying to know when you stand your ground, it ain't always a battle with your fist, because your mind is more powerful than your fist. So when you know who you are, you don't have to battle. You don't have to battle. You tell them, look, just, give me your license. There is no politeness. Hello, officer, how are you? Good. Are you having a good day? If you choose to say that. And then pass them your driver's license. Your driver's license is going to speak for you. You don't have to do all of that. You don't have to. Sometimes I see in some of these people, they're getting literally maimed because they're snatched out of vehicles because they got these sovereign citizen, and I'm not trying to put anything down, but what I'm saying is, we have never had to go through that. When you just pass your license, I've been pulled over, and yes, I have. Miss Jo has been pulled over. Miss Jo don't like being pulled over. My honey say, Miss Jo don't like being pulled over, so Miss Jo gonna keep it right. But I have been pulled over, and I didn't have to go through all of that. I gave him my driver's license, and some of them do have like a, arrogant attitude until they come back. And then they say, if they can't issue you a ticket, they can. If you're going over the speed limit or whatever, they're gonna issue you a ticket. They can issue you a ticket, but it's up to you whether you pay it or not. It's not a requirement, but I do, because I don't like being pulled over. Because if you have them on there, they're gonna pull you over because they have you. They're attached to your driver's license. They're attached to your license plate. So if they see that on your license plate, they're going to pull you over. Then you got to go through the whole process. And I love my time. I don't have time to waste. So I'd rather just do what I got to do. And when they come back, they're so polite and they're so great. And they're like, well, they're going to give you a lesser. Well, I'm not going to put down that you were going this fast. I'm just going to say, you had no proof of insurance. And that way you could just take it and wipe it out, and you won't even get tickets or points on your license. If I'm driving with a suspended license and I'm not indexed, I already know what's about to go down. I'm either going to go to jail, and they're going to impound my car. Flat out.
Even though they're not supposed to.
Even though, now, if I'm indexed, they're not supposed to do that.
And if
they do that,
That's something I tell them though.
yeah. But if they do that, then they got to deal with some stuff that they don't want to deal with. But hey, if they choose to do it, they got to deal with that stuff. So I'm saying this bringing my conclusion in because I don't want to go too far over. Indexing is more about our protection in this land from being harassed by these officers. It's happening in Michigan all too much. We're being harassed like crazy now. I've seen young women being pulled over and having their cars snatched and it's things like that. And if we don't get people to understand that they need to be indexed, this is not about taking your information and doing anything with it. Nobody needs to do that. They have strict laws of where people take your information and stuff. They got laws on that. But my whole thing is Dr. Henderson don't have to take your information and do anything with it. He really don't. If you choose to get indexed, you'll be doing the best thing for yourself you've ever done. If you choose to stay out of the stay in this system, when the maritime and it's already dead, it is literally on life support. It is not. Next year there may not be any indexing. Okay, so I'm only saying we don't know when it's going to close, but we understand that this is the last year. This is what we're being told. So my whole thing to you is, if the maritime admiralty law dies, guess what dies with it? The whole system. The whole system. The whole system is gone. And I don't know what happens when the whole system goes out. I don't know what happens. I don't know if they're talking about people losing all their insurance because the system is probably getting ready to leave out of here. They created this. This system was created by a maritime admiralty law. All their social security and you better get yourself indexed because nobody wants to see their sisters or brothers stuck in this system. Get yourself indexed so that when you are redeemed, whatever they owe you from your ancestors on down, whatever they owe you, and you have to have it, and you will have it. Because they've locked up everything, they've stolen everything, and they're keeping everything hoarded to themselves. That is why we're under a birth certificate and social security number, so that we won't even be able to have access to it. So I say to you, have a good night.
Do me a favor and give them that last page.
Oh, the last
the
page.
Validity of that letter?
He liked it. He liked the last
Yeah,
page.
just so they'll know.
Yeah, I like the last page too. I'm hoping that they're seeing this one because we had a problem with the last time being in here. Let's see. Okay, well, hold on. It's not actually the last page. Let me see here. Because this is that. It's the page. Okay. So it says, please feel free to test the validity of these documents by contacting the Universal World Court at the telephone number indicated herein.
Now, what I want to share with this, what she's reading right now, is this. When you get this information, because this will be your documents and your information, when you get it, go to your county and put them on notice. Go to the clerk, the city clerk, in your county, in the jailhouse, whatever you want to call it, the county, the city county, and go to the clerk, put them on notice, get it filed, get a copy of it, send it to your senator, the state, the county, and I guess the government. Send them to all of them. And this information right here, what she's reading now, it's like an affidavit, or you can get an affidavit and then take it in, or mainly once you get them in there, this will put them on notice. But go ahead and read, babe. I just want them to understand this point.
Okay, so He also says that if you are a respondent, trustee, liability in any case of action concerning this estate is being given notice to comply by officially removing yourself. You have 14 days from the date of your receipt of this notice and demand in which to respond. Otherwise, your doors will be closed from the world's highest court. All judgments will be enforced by the Council of Security, the Universal Security Council. All judgments will be final with no appeal. As principal over both the World Court and the World Bank, through the 501c4, the Melchizedek Trust, we await your response. Govern yourself accordingly. And this is for those that want to test the validity of this document. And it's been given under my authority and hand this 30th day of June 2020. And that was the day I was indexed. So, having 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 been indexed, have I seen any of the benefits of being indexing? Yes, I have. And one of those benefits were not having to worry about whether I was going to be locked up or, you know, I feel free. I want to say that. I feel free to travel privately. Thank you, my brother. I feel free to travel privately, and when I leave every day, I don't worry about him so much because my brothers are always they're always they fight every day, and you know, being his woman, his wife, I have to worry sometimes. You know, I felt like I had to worry. You know, a lot of prayer goes with him when he walks out this door. Stop it. A lot of prayer goes with him when he walks out of this door because I don't want to have to worry about him. We're doing our thing. We're building. We're working together, and we're doing what we need to do. And we don't need to worry about each other. So indexing kind of lifts that, brought peace for me like that. I don't know if for any of my other index brothers and sisters, but for me specifically, with the things that he do, and that we do, um, it brings a peace to where I feel like we'll make it home and safe and from the government issues. All other things we don't worry about because we're covered. So I just want to say, I want to just wrap that up because the time is far spent. I want to say, please, if you are thinking about it, um, and if you prayed about it, and um, the Father will show you ways. He'll show you. He'll bring confirmation that you need to be doing this. He'll bring it to you. He had to bring it to me because I was skeptical, and though I was skeptical, he was taking the heat from my skepticism.
That's why I got. That's why I got stopped about 15 or 16 times.
He was taking the heat from my skepticism.
That's right.
And the Father knows how much I care for him, how much I love him. So I just kept saying, okay, maybe today, and then no, I can't do it. And so when I finally, in all seriousness, when I finally realized how much I needed to be indexed, it was the time when we got pulled over for that last time, and I actually just spoke words out of my mouth, and the Father let those words come to pass, and I had to do, I had to
And what
do.
was it? So they'll know what the words was.
I said, baby, if a state trooper pull you over and he tell you to have a nice day and don't give you a ticket, I'm getting indexed. And true enough.
Less than 5 minutes.
Yes. And true enough, wasn't even 5. It was just about 5 minutes. The trooper came down, pulled us over.
Well, actually, I was going to.
He wants to explain that.
Yeah, I was going to speak. What you call it? Cruise control.
Yeah.
He came down and got over, and I came around him on cruise control, and I guess he got mad or upset, or think, well, who you think he is gonna pass me?
He funny, and he did, and he did that, and we got pulled over. True enough, he came back. He had